All right, so Captivate. Real recap from today. Responsive, that's going to be your mobile, as you can see. That gets pretty intense. We will get into that in the advanced authoring, just not in here. Software simulation, we're going to touch on in this recording. Video demo, we're not going to do. We will never upload from a PowerPoint, right? Captivate Draft is the mobile app that you can do on your iPad. And then, of course, for this class, we're going to do blank project. Once you pick a blank project, you can see the size down here. So just make sure you mark that size, and or if it needs to be specific based on whoever your client is or where you work, make sure you can change that there. As you can see, the interface is very PowerPointy, right? You want to set things up just like we do in Storyline. Double click on the timeline down here on the bottom. That'll get your timeline up, very similar to Storyline as well. You want your properties window to be open, so you want to pull that up. And then, of course, just like we did with the fit to window or best fit, you want to come into this view, go to magnification, and then hit best fit. That's going to keep your content here. Okay? The other thing we want to do is we want to mess with the master slide. So I'm going to go to master slide view, and I just want this to be a clean, nice white. So I'm going to change this to white, and then it says bg.jpg. I'm just going to delete that, and then we're good. I'm going to exit that. Okay? So here we go. It is very similar to Storyline, right? Everything at the top, this is where you would add your slides. There are themes, just like in PowerPoint, but we're not going to do that. This fluid box here you can see is grayed out, and that's because we didn't choose the responsive option. Here is text, okay? We can do text caption, text entry, and text animation. Text caption is what you will use anytime you want to put text on the screen. Text entry is just like Storyline. When we wanted to capture a variable or a person's name, we would use text entry. And then text animation we will not use because we're not in high school anymore, okay? Next up is shapes. That's where you want to put on your shapes. Objects are things we're going to go over next week in class. Interactions is everything that we're also going to be going over next week, but then you have buttons and you have all these click boxes. Media here, you see that we have images, we have animations, we have characters, okay, just like Storyline, everything is very much the same. Record is for audio, save, preview, publish, we know that. Assets we don't need, and then community. The first thing that we did, just like we do in Storyline, we want to go to this master slide view, and then we want to do some creating, right? We actually want to put onto the stage some sort of brand, right? So this here is going to be my title, let's say. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some shapes. I'll do this. Okay. And then you'll notice the best part about this is when you have a shape, anything going on here on your screen, when you click on it, so here's a shape, you see my properties panel actually changes to mimic that. And just to show that a little bit more, if I'm going to put text on here now, you can see when I click on the text, how my properties panel over here adapts, and everything over here references that text. Here when I click the shape, you see everything references that shape. So that's one thing that's really nice about that. So now that I have this highlight, I can come over here, I can change the color to whatever it is that I want, change the opacity. You can't turn the stroke off, so your option is either to make it the same as your shape or set it to 0, which is another way of turning it off, okay? So I'm just going to mimic some things here. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. I'm just going to go ahead and do what I'm going to consider now to be some sort of title slide. So I'll put my title in there. Okay? So that's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab these two. Now I need another one, right? So this is going to be my more traditional. This is where all my content is going to go, right? So the other one was just a title slide, and this one here will be where I put everything else, right? Maybe I want to do my navigation back here, so I'll do this. Okay, so we're good. So now I have two different kind of designs that I can work with, and we're good to go. I'm going to actually change this just because I want to. Like a gray. Okay? Now always remember when you're messing around in the master slide view that you want to exit that before you start beginning and designing anything. So now I have my text. I can go here and say text caption. I'm going to say blue and white. So accessing dogs stats. Okay. So here we go. We have this thing now, and I'm going to go. A good habit that I like to do, just because I like to have things centered, is make everything like this, and then you can see how it automatically centered. I can also come down here, change my font. I'll do this articulate extra bold and make it a lot bigger, even bigger than that. Okay, expand it so it fits, and we're good. So here's the deal. I have this text now. So this is articulate extra bold. It's regular 48. That is going to be my title font all the time, even if I have a subtitle now. If I'm going to be going from one section to another, this is going to be the font that I should use. So what I should do is come over here. You see style name. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say create new, and I'm just going to say title text. So now every time that I go to make a new title screen or something, I can just apply that font to it, okay? Then the same thing goes with a button. So now I'm going to go ahead and make a button. Give it a minute to appear. There it is. There's my button. I'm going to put that right here in the middle, okay? And we did that under Modify. We can go to Align and do whatever we want. So I'm going to say center horizontally on the slide. Interesting thing about the button here now is it says under style here that it's a text button, which is fine, but I can't change the color, right? So I want to use, and what we're majority of the time going to be using, is the transparent button. Ironically, it's not transparent. It's something that you can actually see all the time. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to make this a certain color. Okay. Oh, that's just the stroke there. Sorry. I'm going to make this a certain color. I am going to put a stroke on it and keep everything there the same. I am going to make it just a little bit bigger. Okay. And I want to add the radius here, so you can see at the bottom, I'm going to make that about 15. Okay. So there we have a nice button. When I click on it, I do need to name this, and it's not like Storyline where I can just double click down here, okay? I have to come up here. Everything is done in my properties panel. So I'm going to call this begin, and it didn't change the name, right? Because the name is not, the name is what I'm going to call to it if I were to put any type of action on it. Here is the caption, is where I'm also going to put begin. You can see now it changes to begin right there. As we discussed, be mindful of your pause, okay? So if you're going to have any type of animation or other things that are happening, be mindful of the pause so things actually happen the way that you want. This is a button, so I'm going to click on it. I can go to Action, and you can see the very first thing there. It says On Success. Go to next slide. That's what I want it to do, so we don't have to worry about that. Other things that we should be mindful of is this hand cursor. I'm going to put that on there so it actually turns into that little finger, so you know it's a button. Then we also want to disable the click sound. Okay, so disabling that click sound means it's not going to make any noise whatsoever. So now that I have this figured out, I have the font. Actually, I don't, so let me go ahead and put the font on there that I want. Articulate narrow is fine. So now this is what every button should look like. It should be orange with a black stroke with that particular font. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to add a new style, and I'm going to go ahead and call that my button. Right, because that is my button heretofore. Now I'm going to add a new slide. So I'm just going to go ahead and say there's things that we can do now. The first thing is I can just go up here and say slide, content slide, and it just does that. And I want to change it to actually a content slide and not this title slide. So I can come over here to master slide, click on this little triangle, and pick that blank one. So this is where mostly my content is going to go. Also, I could right-click over here and say Slides, and from there you can see Slides, New Slide From, and I can just make any option here that I want. Okay? Close these out. And now we're good. So now everything is set up quite nicely, and this is where I would put maybe an about, right? So the purpose of this, and we'll get into that a little bit more. So purpose of this module. Okay, about that. And of course, we would put this in a certain spot and have all of those design features. But next up is getting that software simulation. So a software simulation is recording any type of software like a Photoshop or any type of web instance. So maybe logging into Instagram or using your social media, okay? So mine's about dogs. So what I want to do is first set up everything that I need, okay? So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go to berwickdogs.com. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to keep Google open, and that'll be part of it. So I know what I want to do. So when I go back to Captivate down here, I'm now going to get ready to begin my software simulation. Now, in the beginning, we picked 1024 by 627 as our size. So if you were going to record your software simulation outside of this, instead of trying to do it all in one, you just have to make sure it's the same size, so when you go to import those slides, everything isn't kind of distorted, right? But doing it this way makes more sense. We have it set up, we have our brand, our style, our look, our feel. So now I can come up here to slides, and I can just pick software simulation. Now when I pick software simulation, the very first thing it's going to ask me is where I want to put it in the scheme of things. I know that I want it after slide 2 for right now. I can move it later. So just hit OK. Now we're set. Now the project was at 1024 by 627, so it automatically opened up a window, see this red box, at 1024 by 627. Now the first thing I have to do is select the window to record. I'm going to, oh darn, I forgot I was on PC. Let me go ahead and make sure I can set that up, just that it goes to Google there. Okay, so now I'm going to select the window to record, and you can see there it is, Google, and one more page. I'm just going to go ahead and pick Google. In doing so, see it says snap to window? I don't want to be snapping anything. All I want to do is make sure, so I can move this red box. I'm going to move it. I want to make sure that everything that I want to record is inside that red box, okay? Not sure what's going on at the moment. Do I want to do that? There we go. Interestingly enough, when I hit that snap to window, it put that everything inside that red box. So it just repositioned it to the 1024 by 627. I want to keep it at automatic. I want to keep it at demo mode. I do not want to pan. Next thing that you want to do, it's not crucially important, but it really makes things easier, is to go to settings. And once you have settings open, you can see that we have the option of keys, and we want to make sure that this is correct. So right now I'm on my Mac, and I don't have an end option. So I need to change that. I'm just going to make shift. All you have to do is select it, and then I'm going to hit the letter E. So when I hit the letter E, it's actually going to stop recording, okay? Oh. Okay, so Shift E. How about that? Fair enough. Now, another thing to do, if you're going to be doing a process, practice it first, okay? Make it as flawless as possible. I know you use Instagram all the time, but there's some weird pressure that happens when you're being recorded. I mean, you might use Photoshop all the time, but you do some short. So all of those things are pertinent. We have to figure, but for now, all I want you to do is hit record, and then everything that we do from this point on is going to be recorded, right? So I'm going to go to berwickdogs.com. It's actually going to navigate to the site. Then I can go through all of these things here, right? So this is a nice, it's small, so I have to come here, click on the menu. I can go to history. And all of this stuff is here for us to look at and see what's going on. Okay, here's all the stats and everything. Great, good job, way to go, dogs. Okay, so now I can do Shift E. The moment that I end it, okay, so I've just ended my recording, Captivate will open back up. Right? Captivate. And what it did, as you can see, there's my second slide. It put in every single slide and everything that I did. There's me typing away. There's the new email address, the new web link. Then I went ahead and searched, and then you see that it goes actually to the website. It actually goes when I start messing with the menu. So everything that I did was recorded. And now the only thing that we'll do is we're going to put instruction over top of this as far as what the user should do and when. So that's the information that we have for now. That should get you prepared and prepped and ready for the next class.